Welcome to Tuesday Talks. I'm delighted that you could join us this week. Our special guests this week are GLCO orchestra member percussionist Tim Mocny and Tony Manfredonia, who is the music director at St. Mary's Church in Charlevoix. Hi, guys. Thank you for joining me. We are together today to share with you some fun and exciting information about our upcoming Sunday Series concert. We have not performed live since last February, so this is a very exciting event for us. March 28th at 4 p.m. at St. Mary's Church in Charlevoix, we will be presenting the Drumheads, Tim Mocny and Rob, and also special guest Tony Manfredonia, with a new piece that he has composed and created especially for this performance for percussion, organ, and voice. So I'm very excited to have both of these gentlemen here today to tell us a little more about this performance and about the pieces on the concert. So let me maybe get started with Tim. Why don't you tell us a little bit about, first of all, thank you so much for you and Rob being part of this first performance for the Great Lakes Chamber Orchestra through all this pandemic. But you are part of the Drumheads and will be performing a number of very interesting pieces as I read your program: Duet for Marimba and Vibraphone, Double Take. You've got Conversation for two tambourines. So why don't I turn this over to you and you tell us a little bit about the selections.
First of all, before we talk about these selections, we should mention we had a Drumheads concert lined up and ready to go for 2020, and it was going to be a trio. It was going to be, and Rob Kratz-Hahn, who's graciously jumped in to join us on this concert, which I'm super excited about. I played with Rob in a number of different orchestras across the state, and he's just a beautiful player. We had a completely different lineup of musicians other than me, and a completely different program. We even had a rehearsal for that. So this is just kind of funny that here we are a year later, and we've got a great program. I'm really excited about it. And honestly, I've done so much with the Drumheads over the years, the last number of years. We've been mainly a trio. So doing a duo was kind of a new thing for me. And so first thing I did was I said, all right, Rob, we're going to do this. We're going to keep it small because, it makes sense in this day and age. And we started talking about this months ago too. So it's like, we'll keep it small and we'll keep it two people. You have any good duets? And then he just sends me this list of all these, like, okay, this will be great. And we had a couple other ideas of things we tossed in as well. One of the ones that I'm excited about, it's kind of been brewing in my brain for a while, is the, I'm probably going to pronounce it incorrectly, the gymnodopy. Is that how you would say it? Tony, do you know the settee?
I think gymnopédie, something like that.
That sounds great.
Yeah, it's a piano solo. And especially it's three parts. The first part in particular is very, very famous. It gets used for a lot of different purposes. It's very kind of calming and tranquil piano music. But I had the idea, this might work well for mallet percussion. And so we're going to give that a try, and we're excited about that. So we are doing some arrangements of existing pieces. So some of the music that folks will hear on Sunday on the 28th will be familiar. And some of it will be unfamiliar to everyone because it's brand new, like the piece Tony wrote. And of course, some of the percussion music is not the sort of thing that you hear on a daily basis. So we're excited about that. I want to show you this this here. This is, I don't even know if you can get an idea of the scale of this. It's enormous. This is what happens when you don't have time to turn pages. So this is 8 pages long. This is double take, which I'm excited about. And you can actually see my setup for double take over here. Some of these are not the actual instruments I'll use. They're just stand-in instruments. So you can see I've got a splash cymbal, a set of bongos, a standard snare drum, wood block, an upside down cymbal. Wonder what that's about. And then I've got a cowbell and I've got a floor tom over there. Now that floor tom is going to transform magically into a large bass drum, which Rob and I are going to share. And this upside down cymbal here is going to turn into an opera gong, which is a gong that bends in pitch when you strike it. So, and just to give you an idea, this is what we have to navigate here. I've been having so much trouble because it's tiny, and we're all getting older one day at a time, all of us. And I was having a hard time sometimes telling the difference between the different instruments that I don't normally play. I should also point out that the snare drum is notated on this line. This is not normal. Oftentimes the snare drum would be, if we were thinking in treble clef, it would be on the C space up there. So we have to deal with all this stuff. Composers kind of assign positions to different instruments instead of positions to different notes, which is what most of us are used to if we've played music before. So they assign positions to different instruments, and also you can see different shapes. And I've added color to help me get it right, hopefully, fingers crossed, right? So we're dealing with these kind of we're dealing with these kind of things. And of course, one of the things I ran across immediately with a couple of the pieces is I just don't have time to turn pages. This is not trio music where I get to rest every once in a while. This duo stuff, we're just busy all the time. It's similar to solo music, right? So yeah, it's been not only fun learning the tunes, but also fun arts and crafts time with glue sticks and scissors and giant pieces of cardboard.
Wow.
This is a very interesting piece. This is the Levitan. This is the Duet for Marimba and Vibraphone that Judy mentioned earlier. We had 14 pages in score with very little rest and very little time to turn pages. So I actually went ahead and cut out every line of the marimba part from the score and pasted it into a format that I could navigate much more quickly with only 3 pages front and back. So,
wow. You have just given us all a lot to digest. And, we come and we listen and we watch and we clap and we appreciate and we think it's wonderful. But we really, as an audience, have no idea what it takes to get you to a position where you're able to put it all together and play. And Tony, how does that affect then what you have created? So thank you. We are so excited to hear your world premiere, your new piece. We're thrilled that we are at St. Mary's, which is the parish where you are music organist, cantor, music director. But that you actually stepped forward and said, I'm a composer, an arranger, I love to do music, and I would love to create a piece for percussion, voice, and organ. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, thank you, and of course, thank you to Tim and Rob for taking it on. It's gonna be a blast to do this together. So yeah, I mean, I think when Judy, when you shared that this concert for Drumheads was going to be, excuse me, you're talking with Father Peter about bringing it to St. Mary's. I was like, okay, well, I was like, this is a perfect opportunity just to do something. I mean, especially since we haven't had live music like this in the area for, like you said, like over a year. So, I kind of wanted to just do something. And so the concert is on Palm Sunday, right? So March 28th. So I figured, okay, that's another reason to do something. You have all these amazing percussion arrangements, and I'm so excited to hear them. Something like in a sacred context, because I think, okay, we're bringing percussion to this venue, which is a church. I was like, it'd be really neat to do something as an organist and as a vocalist, and percussion, because I think, kind of like Tim mentioned, you have all these different notes for all these different instruments, and us composers, we can kind of coordinate or kind of give little key maps, so to speak, to kind of say, okay, well, that line is this instrument, that line's this instrument. Or, I mean, you could even, the way that I did it for this piece was to kind of like, here are the preset instruments that you will be using. and you will all have adequate time to move from one instrument to the next. So I didn't have to do the sort of like one note equals one instrument type thing. It was more so like, okay, here you're at the marimba for a while. Now you have a few measures of rest to go over there. Because I think also too, you know, Judy, you mentioned the idea that when people hear percussion, I would say that the average listener probably has a preset idea of what they think that is. But I think percussion, there's so many beautiful textures that can come from a percussionist. You know, I included in this piece, it's called 3 in the Afternoon, uses text from the Gospel of Mark, kind of sort of the, if anyone knows, you know, Mark 15:33, sort of just like the crucifixion scene, right? Where it's, you know, it's 3 in the afternoon, darkness kind of overtakes the land and stuff. So I included right from the get-go a bowed vibraphone, right? So when people think vibraphone, they think this, right, with mallets making sound, hitting the vibraphone. Yeah. But more so, I've included bowed vibraphone, where you take a violin bow or you know, a bow of your choosing, and you actually bow the metal keys. And wow. This kind of creates a more ethereal kind of glass. It almost sounds like a glassy effect. And also, you know, marimba. Okay, marimba is all fun and wild and, you know, xylophone style, but can also be really soft and kind of just, it can kind of create a bed of sound that kind of gives a body to something that can happen on top. So I kind of took a more colorful approach to the percussion writing in 3 in the Afternoon, a little bit more somber, a little bit more reverent, I guess you could say. You know, not to say that percussion can't be reverent, but it takes a more darker approach, a little bit more coloristic rather than in your face, if that makes sense. And of course, with organ, you know, I'll be playing the organ, I'll be singing the text from the Gospel of Mark at the same time. So when it's kind of creating a conversation between organ and the percussion parts and creating different sounds and colors. So long-winded answer, but that's kind of the approach.
That's great. And I kind of foresee or hope, Tim, that maybe we can even take a moment during the performance or right before you perform this to show us, tell us, because I'm trying to think about, I have never seen a bow on a percussion instrument. So if you can peel that apart for us, show us, have us listen to what that sounds like, and then maybe play it in a more traditional way so that we can really see, wow, okay, this is really getting the text across the way the composer, Tony, intended. So I think that would be, because you're using some fresh approaches.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that those sorts of, and that's one of my favorite things, you know, this group is created basically for this wonderful audience that the Great Lakes Chamber Orchestra has in Northern Michigan. And we've always, in its various incarnations, you know, I'm kind of the steady element that's been in every version of the Drumheads, but as we've been able to bring different people to Northern Michigan to play percussion music, it's always been fun because we've had plenty of questions. Sometimes we'll answer questions during the concert, you know, between pieces as we're setting things up. Anybody have any questions? You know,
yeah.
And so people are always curious, you know, about, you know, here's the mallet. Not even all of the mallets. Those are the mallets that I'll be using for the solo marimba piece that I'm going to be doing, and that's not even all of them. Why would I need so many different mallets? You know, and it's just a wonderful thing to show the differences, and you know, they can really bring different. We talk about color a lot when we think about percussion. And, you know, even the same instrument can get so many different colors when it's played with different mallets or different types of sticks or brushes or different things that we have available. And I do want to say, for anyone who's maybe shy, who's been patient to listen to this video so far, but maybe a little shy about a percussion concert, is it just going to be a lot of banging on drums? Well, number one, don't worry, we will bang on drums a little bit. So if you like that, you've got you covered. But we're also, you know, if you think about all of our colors as a box of crayons, some of our pieces are going to be like confetti of all this color in your face, lots and lots of bright, colors and rapidly changing colors. And some pieces are going to be almost the opposite of that, perhaps just exploring all of the possibilities of the marimba. So if you think of a marimba as a purple, we'll just look at all these different gradations of purple and explore purple, a very rich purple, a very pale purple. And so, we're gonna go on quite a journey in terms of the different musical color that we'll hear. And some of it will be very loud and some of it will be very, very quiet. We have the capability on these instruments to play at almost a whisper. So I think there's going to be plenty for everyone to enjoy. And the beautiful thing is all the tunes are fairly short. So if there happens to be one you don't like, it'll be over soon. So we'll be on to something completely different in just a moment,
Right. Well, and the other thing that makes our Sunday series so unique and so enjoyable for our audience is that they get to see up close some of the instruments in the orchestra that are hidden. Okay, obviously hidden behind the strings. And so here we have all these percussion instruments that you have showed us and more that will be right out in front, and they'll be able to actually see you play them. And as you just said, maybe even have you explain what you're doing and why you're doing it and what is the instrument that you're working on. So that aspect of the Sunday series always makes it very exciting for the audience. And Tony, I'm envisioning you up in front and telling us a little bit about your piece before we get started, or from the balcony. I know you're going to be up at the organ console, so you can just stand up there and tell us a little bit about your piece.
Yeah, no, because I it's going to be interesting too, I think, for the listeners, because there's going to be sound coming from two directions, which is going to be, and I kind of did that purposefully. I kind of actually like all sort of my organ presets and all that stuff. I'm keeping it somewhat balanced, so to speak, so that there's something is never going to be overpowering the other instruments. And again, having sort of the percussion in front, the organ in the back. And I'm going to be mic'd on my voice, so because I'm facing the organ, I'm not facing out. My voice will be coming from a speaker system in the center of the sanctuary. So it's going to be a very interesting. It's the kind of thing that I wish I could kind of experience in the center, just to kind of hear, but I won't be able to. Well,
and I think that also interesting because you are here in Charlevoix. Tim is in Mount Pleasant. Rob is in Flint. So actually, you're getting together.
No, he moved to Ann Arbor.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
I didn't even know that. I told you he was from Flint. Yeah, I get his bio for the program. We're working on the program, and he lives in Ann Arbor now. Okay.
So Sunday afternoon is the first time that the three of you will be rehearsing together, and I could imagine there might be some delay that you're going to have to work with. You're up in the organ loft and the percussion is in the front of the church. And so you've got some sound issues possibly.
It'll be fun. Well, fortunately, I will say this, fortunately, St. Mary's is a relatively dry space. It's not so huge and it's not so reverberant that you get, I mean, even with my organ console, it's like playing an actual piano. It's like I press the key and the sound comes out. There's not much in the ways of delay for me, fortunately, which then will ease up. Because I've played, at St. Francis in Petoskey, and like you press a key and you wait 3 seconds and then you get the note. So it's fortunately not like that for something like this.
Good. Well, I think that are there any final thoughts from either of you for this very, very exciting performance coming up?
I always just think, I just want to commend the percussionists. I just got to say that I love writing for percussionists, especially in an orchestral setting or concert band setting, because they can change instruments on a dime. Like I love giving them the thing where they have to put one thing down and then run to the next. And it's great. I think percussionists are so respectable because they do they have to know how to play so many different textures and kind of keep their feet a little bit off the ground in order to get to the next one. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, they've never ceased to impress me.
Right. and provide such a foundation for an orchestra or for
Oh yeah.
a piece. Yeah, yeah. Tim, any final comments for our audience?
Looking forward to seeing everybody again. It's been such a long time, and we always, regardless of whoever I have in the Drumheads in any given incarnation of the group, they're always so impressed with the warmth and the appreciation of the music, and I'm just really looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to introducing Rob to you all. I just know he's going to really enjoy getting to work with, to interact with everybody and getting to work with Tony. And yeah, I'm super excited. I know many of you are. I've been kind of interacting with some of my friends from up north a little bit to see how people are feeling. And I know we're still kind of under this specter of the social distancing and things like that, but I'm sure we'll all find ways to encourage each other and enjoy a wonderful afternoon, despite, the different regulations and things like that. And so I'm super excited.
Right, right. Well, I can't tell you how excited we are. As I mentioned earlier, it's been over a year since the Great Lakes Chamber Orchestra has performed live. And I want to assure everybody that we are taking all safety precautions in terms of taking temperatures, distancing, masks. Yes, we're concerned about musicians, staff, and also audience members. I also want to encourage you to go on our website, and you will find more information about this Drumheads and Tony, and the new world premiere piece from Tony, 3 in the afternoon. You'll find more information on our website about that. And there are 3 ways that you can reach out for this performance. One, we have an RSVP form that you can quickly fill out. It'll take about 30 seconds just to let us know that you're coming, so that we can put your name on a list and we can ensure proper distancing. You can also call the Great Lakes Chamber office at 231-487-0010 and indicate your reservation for coming on Sunday. Or we will also accept walk-ins the day of the performance, like we usually always have. And I just would only caution that that would be on a first come, first served. Obviously, if there's room available, absolutely, we will write your name down and seat you. So we've got those 3 ways that you can indicate that you will be present and you will be attending this wonderful performance. And I think now you have to be as excited as I am listening to both Tony and Tim about this performance. And so I look forward to seeing you again Sunday, March 28th at 4 p.m. at St. Mary's Catholic Church in Charlevoix. We will be featuring Tim Mocny and Rob as the Drumheads, with our special guest, Tony Manfredonia, and his new world premiere piece, 3 in the afternoon. Not to be missed. So I thank you for joining us today, and I look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks.